With Gears of War 5 coming, we can see DeeBees having become a weapon to the swarm. But what if this was taken into a different path? How's it going, everyone? It's another Thursday in this beautiful world we called Earth, or we're going into Gears, so Sierra, I've heard that thrown everywhere. I just call it Sarah because that's just how it looks to me. So, looking back on those videos, sorry if I've gotten it wrong this entire time. I'll figure that one out when the time comes. But today I want to talk about the DeeBees from Gears of War 4 we were introduced to, and how 25 years later, after the Locusts, we now have the new cog and how they're forming, and how we currently have the DeeBees that are pretty much like the temporary stand-in soldiers until they can start getting their numbers back in order for the new cog. Now, originally, I actually had I had notes written down, just random stuff, just because I was gonna do this video on an evil AI for the DeeBees, or what if the DeeBees became their own faction in Gears of War? Because with the Gears of War universe we had 4 factions originally for 1 through 3, and technically Judgment, but no one wants to count that for anything. We had the Cog, the Locust, the Lambent, and the Stranded. Now the Stranded don't really come up too often in the games at all, but in the books and comics it's very heavily shown. You know, they have their own fleet that's going around in the ocean that they're sailing around in. It shows in the books before we got to the events of 3 how they lived and how they took over old cities, and they pretty much just squatted in different areas of it and made settlements there. That's what we looked into. With the Lambent, you didn't really have to go over the Lambent too much because they were just like a parasitic organism from the Earth that was pretty much just going through and destroying all life. That was pretty understandable and basic. It was easy to comprehend. But then we come to 4, and now we have 3 current factions. We have the New Cog, the Outsiders, and we also have the Swarm. I can't believe I was about to forget them and call them Stranded too for a moment. But we have those 3 factions. And what I was thinking of, and this was originally going to be a theory video going over, well, what if the DeeBees so-and-so? But this is more like a hypothesis than actually going into a theory now. So what I was going to talk about, and what I was thinking of before I decided to halt it a bit because I was going way too far into things, was what if the AI or something, because you know that Baird programmed some form of higher thinking machine or something to make those DeeBees program them and do all that. You know he did something like that. And with the Swarm having their hive mind and an AI pretty much branching out to all these, walking units, I could easily see them having a hive mind system. What if a DeeBee, like we saw in 4 when one got shot with the spike through the head, and when, another YouTuber, Barricade, went over this idea before it was really shown in the Gears of War 5 trailer, what if something like that were to recur again, but there was a hive mind setting AI and it got infected from synapses or something that was shot from that spike, electronically fried the AI and made it go rogue, or got higher conscious, kind of like when higher conscience, I mean like the Geth from Mass Effect, not to that extent, because they were to the point where they were grasping the idea of what it means to be living and life. So not to the Geth extent, but like, rogue machines going out, and their goal is just to destroy all organic life. Because we've talked about and seen in Gears of War how it's like humans versus humans, humans versus locusts, killing each other off for the planet. But we've never seen a machine aspect, and I think the DeeBees would really fit in there as a machine aspect, humans versus machines, how that would be handled. Because it's easy to think human versus human, this is one of our own. When the Locusts came, it was a whole other enemy. They weren't human. We would focus on them without the feeling of killing some of our own. But the Locusts and even the Swarm right now are still living. Well, the Swarm kind of are. You could call them like Locust zombies, really, or they are the next step in the evolution. I'm not too sure on that yet. But that's what I'm getting at. There's a lot that you can do with the DeeBees themselves. There's a lot you could do with, one of the factories is just pumping out DeeBees left and right. They've attained their own consciousness, and they're the 4th faction now. So you'll have the New Cog, the Swarm, Outsiders, and the DeeBees. They'll be their own thing, because in multiplayer, they already pretty much are their own faction. The only issue is that you have the UIR that's out now, and the Locust characters are now out in multiplayer. And with Griffin, or Griffith, however you want to say it, I believe it's Griffith, or Griffin, I don't know. Let's say Griffin, I'm sorry if I'm wrong. I'm sorry, Ice-T, I love your work. But let's say that's the case. The 4th faction in the main story, because in multiplayer, we've got all of this stuff going everywhere. There's no way we could really pinpoint 4 different groups in multiplayer. So the main story, I don't know. I think I would like it if the DeeBees took over. But again, if this was going to be a longer, lengthier video, it would be like, you know, here's how the AI could operate. Here's how the DeeBees come into power. Because in 5, I can already tell you how it's going to go down. I still hold true to my locust theory that I have, that there's either one or a few that are still alive and could possibly help Kate. I'm holding on to that. But then you throw in the DeeBees and this idea of a 4th faction. And it's really hard to fit into 5 because it's not going to be a cut and dry story. It's not going to be Kate traveling to Mount Kadar for... sorry, I got an itch on my eye. It's not going to be Kate traveling to Mount Kadar, and then the very end of the game they get there and they have this mind-blowing epiphany or thought or realization or anything like that from what they learn. It's not going to be that simple. It's going to be them traveling to Mount Kadar. In the first, from the trailer, we're going to see someone's going to die. I'm guessing Oscar, but that's another story too. They're going to get to Mount Kadar probably around the middle of the game, and then something's going to happen. There's going to be the rest of the game. It's not just going to end with this sudden epiphany where Kate figures something out. There's no way. It would just be a horrible way to write it. It's going to happen in the middle. Something's going to happen after. My guess, Kate could go with the Locust for some reason. If worst case scenario happened, like everyone's pinned down, she says she'll go with if they don't die, or... you know, maybe the DeeBees, it becomes a thing where, oh, the DeeBees are now evil because of a rogue AI. It could be like the Swarm have another evolution, or the Locusts finally all die off if they are still alive. I'm still holding that one. Anything like that, because it can't end with just, it's an epiphany, cut to black. It's just a bad move, in my opinion. So that's why I'm throwing out all these ideas like the Locust and the DeeBees. So... yeah, thanks for watching. Again, this is a little short, not as short I would go, but, you know, roughly around the 9-10 minute ballpark, maybe even less than that with editing, you know. Yeah, so if you enjoyed this, I would like if you subscribed, liked the video, comment. What are your ideas with the future of the DeeBees, or are they just going to be throwaway machines that the COG's going to say, screw it, we're putting humans back in, and now the... DeeBees are just this waste of mechanical stuff that the Swarm are going to utilize. I think that's just a waste, especially after they're introduced that Damon built all of these robots. Well, he didn't build them, but he made the ideas and then made a machine to probably make them after he made the first few. But that's what I mean. Like, it's going to be a waste of potential if they just throw them out and they're just useless now. But yeah, like the video, comment, subscribe. I greatly appreciate it. Follow me on Twitter. I'll probably leave a link to the Locust Theory down below if you want to take a look at that and see what that's about. Yeah. Love ya.